clear what caused his sudden death at the age of 56. Tributes are continuing to pour in for the comic actor who starred in many of Britain's best love shows. Here's Richard Arnold.
Hello, Trevor. My name's Rick.
From the best of British to Hollywood blockbusters, Rick Mayall was one of this country's true comedy greats. He had seemed in good health. This photograph was taken on Sunday. The following day, he was found dead at his home in West London. The cause of death is still being investigated.
Hands up, who likes me?
Mayall made his name in the anarchic sitcom The Young Ones. He went on to play a string of famously eccentric characters, becoming an inspiration to many. Paying tribute on Twitter, David Walliams wrote, "I'm heartbroken that my comedy idol growing up, Rick Mayall, has died. He made me want to be a comedian." Sarah Millican tweeted, "So sad about Rick Mayall, what a brilliant man." And Jack Whitehall described him as a truly hilarious man who made me howl with laughter. Woof. Rick Mayall leaves behind a wife and 3 children.
Flash by name, Flash by nature.
And a whole generation of fans who grew up with him in his unique brand of comedy. Richard Arnold, Good Morning Britain.
More a little later on. Still to come this morning, all your local news, weather and travel. That's just at 6:30. An actor, Rick Mayall, tragically passed away yesterday. Described by his peers as the funniest man of his generation, he was a pioneer of alternative comedy who shot to fame as would-be anarchist Rick in The Young Ones.
Stop clearing this mess up.
Oh, what's from a pig now too?
Yes, yes. Now get licking, porky.
Well, I don't mind being a pig, because for your information, pigs are really intelligent, actually. Yeah, like dolphins.
So they are, eh? But tell me, Neil, who invented the internal combustion engine? Was it Porky the Pig? It was it?
You have to pick quite carefully, don't you, Richard, when you're taking a clip?
A clip from The Young Ones way back in 1982, because we would all do impressions of Wick in the playground and stuff. I mean, that's a nod and a legacy to the man who will remain immortal. I mean, 56, of course, no age. It was one of those moments where you look at your phone, the alert comes through, and you think, is he having the last laugh? This seems extraordinary. You couldn't quite believe it. And, of course, that was the feeling that reverberated around not just the showbiz community, but fans as well in this country, and I'm sure around the world as well. The New Statesman, Blackadder, The Young Ones, as we saw there, there's no end.
Bottom, if I can say
of course,
that.
Bottom, of course, you can certainly say that, and certainly with me, so at that time in the morning. Cause of the death, as yet unknown. We're still awaiting a statement. Scotland Yard have said no suspicious circumstances. Of course, those of us may remember 1998 was the year, of course, he had that horrendous accident on a quad bike, which left him somewhat diminished. He did work afterwards, but he had to take medication, suffered from epilepsy as well, and his wife, I should say, Barbara, found him, which is just heartbreaking for her as well. She had this to say: "We don't know yet what happened. He had a strong heart, so I don't think it was a heart attack. But we won't know until the coroner's report comes in. Maybe he had a fit, maybe it was his heart. As I say, we just don't know." Statement expected later this week.
We had lots and lots of tributes, of course, to him from his peers.
Where to start? The most poignant for me, of course, you mentioned Bottom, co-written much later from their days in the 1980s when they were at university together, Ada Edmondson, and he said this: "There were times when Rick and I were writing together when we almost died, laughing. They were some of the most carefree, stupid days I ever had, and I feel privileged to have shared them with him, and now he's died for real, without me. Selfish, insert expletive," which we certainly can't mention at this time of the morning, but oh, to be a fly on a wall when they were writing along with all of their other fellow comedians from the comic strip presents, of course, because they were part of an extraordinary camp who literally did tear up the rules of comedy way back when. You know, when you think about it, we had Monty Python, we had The Young Ones, and then, of course, luckily, Ricky Gervais, just one of the people, of course, who paid tribute to Rick. Carrie Fisher had this to say, because she worked with Rick, of course, on Drop Dead Fred, which was a real classic. "What do you say when someone dies so young and talented? My heart goes out to his family and friends." Ricky Gervais said this, R.I.P. Rick Mayall, an icon of modern British comedy. Stephen Fry, simply distraught to hear the death of Rick Mayall, an authentic comedy genius and a prince among men. And Adele as well, remembering fondly Drop Dead Fred. "Thank you all for the laughter, Rick Mayall." And finally, I'll just shoehorn this one in, Helen Lederer, because I know Helen is very distraught to lose a close friend. "The man who taught me not to crash laughs has crashed a massive loss." And Helen will be joining us a little bit later on as well to share her thoughts and another tribute to the man himself.
I look forward to hearing some stories from her.
Celebrate his comedy genius.
Well, let's do that, because if
time.
ever there was a man who could raise a titter, it was Rick Mayall.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Brilliant. Richard, thanks very much indeed. Still ahead this morning, this remarkable man.
I didn't advertise the
Generation he shot to fame as a would-be anarchist Rick in The Young Ones.
I'm a pig now too.
Yes, yes! Now get licking, Porky!
I don't mind being a pig, because for your information, pigs are really intelligent, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, like dolphins.
so they are, eh? But tell me, Neil, who invented the internal combustion engine? Was it Porky the Pig? It was, was it?
Well, Richard is with us to talk about the sudden death of Rick, and also joined by Helen Lederer, who has worked with him and is a very good friend of Rick's as well. Thank you both for coming in. It's such an emotional time.
Yeah,
isn't
I
it?
can't believe. Well, first of all, we have to say our love to Barbara and the family. That has to be said. She must be in pieces, total pieces. But it's actually, I think Rick would be chuffed to see me, of all people, on television talking about him.
All about him, indeed.
It's all about me, Richard. Isn't it?
It's all about you now. Will he enjoy you pulling focus?
He
Because you've
would.
been in for such a
He'd
long
go,
time.
Go, girl. He would go.
56 no age, of course, passed away only yesterday, discovered by Barbara, which of course is heartbreaking. Now we know in 1998, of course, he had that horrendous accident on a quad bike, which he had to take medication for afterwards. He worked continuously afterwards, but he did suffer from epilepsy after that. So Barbara had this to say: we don't know yet what happened. He had a strong heart, so I don't think it was a heart attack. We just don't know until the coroner's report. Maybe it had a fit, maybe it was his heart. So we'll probably expect a statement from the family a little bit later on.
Helen, just talk us through. I mean, you know, the reaction yesterday, overwhelming. It was clearly, you know, hugely popular, as well as having made such an impact on so many people.
I first saw it on Twitter and I thought it was a joke, because I wouldn't have put it past Rick to do that kind of anarchic gesture, shall we say. And then I think as it grew and grew, people were more and more aware that this is a person who holds such affection more than anybody else. It's a turning point. It's a benchmark of comedy. I mean, for my generation before, because I'm older, would be Monty Python. You know, for young people and 80s.
Here you are together in Bottom. You're playing the Moldovan princess.
I was.
Of course. Seducing him.
I was
should be
really
said.
happy to seduce Rick, but he did tell me to seduce him, so it's all quite
So it
legit.
was all good. You weren't going off piece, but he gave you a lot of advice, didn't he, when you were starting out at the Edinburgh Festival
met
those
him
years ago?
at the Edinburgh Festival when he began the phenomenon of three stand-up comics, Ben Elton, him and Andy de la Tour, and that's when I first discovered groupies, like these women not speaking. I thought, why are those women standing next to you, Rick, and not speaking? Because I'd never seen a groupie before, but this is he just went on stage and went, what? Except better. And then he told me, he said, Helen, go on stage and just cry. I said, Rick, you sure? Because, you know, I've got like an hour to fill for this show, my mum's show. He said, no, just go and cry, just cry. And that was his belief in himself. He was just supported by this amazing belief and energy. And we've lost someone so special. That's why I think partly the world's reacted to a real loss, an innovator and a wonderful man, warm, kind and lovely.
His characters were always so intense in their personality, in their drive and their ambition. Was he like that off stage?
Yes.
As well?
Yes, he's in the room. You knew he was in the room. And even after his accident, we did a radio play and he shouted, because I think his hearing had been slightly affected, shouting at everyone going for a drink. You know, a big, bare, huge, loving person.
Like those lovely beer adverts that he does, he's very like that, strides in with his big moustache and right.
But it's true, he was very disarmingly charming and attractive, because you expected him to be this anarchic character. And when I first met him in the mid-90s, you'd meet him, he was actually quite a gentle soul, but you were, you know, obviously very much in the room. But a complete charmer, and we didn't realise quite how attractive he was. I know a lot of women felt this until they saw him in the New Statesman, because obviously prior to that it had been Rick.
Yes.
And all the other characters he played.
You would just fall in love with him. Some people just have a magnetic charisma, and he does, and he did.
Helen, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And as you say, thoughts with his family, Richard. Thanks very much indeed.
Love to get that tribute though. I really appreciate you coming in.
Just a couple of minutes before 8 o'clock, coming up after 8.